Hey YouTube, welcome back. We are still working on chapter 5, and the problem we are working on today is called FileDisplay Class. So what they want us to do is to write a class named FileDisplay with the following methods. The class should have a constructor that takes a file name. It should have 3 methods. The first method would be DisplayHead, which would display the first 5 lines of the file. Then, if the file has less than 5 lines, the program would display all the contents of the file. And the second method would be display contents, which would print all the contents of the file. And the last method would be DisplayWithLineNumbers, which would display the file's content with line numbers. And the line numbers should start with number 1. That's the instructions for this problem. It's called File Display. It's chapter 5. The book is starting out with Java. So first we would do is we would create a variable. I already created a file called FileDisplay, a Java class, and this is the description. And we will create a variable that would be a file. I already imported the file package, so you might want to do that as well. And after that, we have to create a constructor for the class. The class name is FileDisplay. As the instruction says, we have to take a file name, so it would be string file name. After that, we have to store the file name in the file object, and that would be it for the constructor. So the first method, we have to display the first 5 lines of the file. If the file contains less than 5, we have to display all the contents of the file. So we would say public void display head. Then we will create a try catch clause, because sometimes there is an exception. There is an exception for file handling. So what we would do is we will create a scanner object to read the file. We will say file. We would take a file as an argument, and this file is from here. Is the one here, and it was instantiated here in our constructor. So after that, we would create a counter to count the line numbers. After that, we will create a while loop to go through the file's content. We will say scanner has next line, then string data, then scanner next line. Because next line, we are using next line because we are reading a text from the scanner object. After that, what we would do, we would increment the counter. Then we have to check if the line numbers are greater than 5 or less than 5. So we'll say if counter is less than or equal to 5. If that's the case, we have to print those 5 lines. You have to counter plus, and we have to add a tab to the print line, and we have to do, we don't have to do else statement, because if the file contains more than 5, we don't care about that. This method's job is to print the first 5 lines of the file, or if it's less than 5, it would print whole content of the file. So that is the first method. The second method is to print the whole content of the file. We would say public void display content, and we pretty much copy this statements, and we will paste it here, and we would change this if statement, because we want to print whole content. We would say counter, then we print the data. So that would be it for that method. And the last method, they asks us to display with line numbers. So we'll say public void display with line numbers. Again, we would paste it to this method, and we would change. We don't want this anymore. We want to print the counter and the data. The counter is responsible for counting the line numbers, and the data is the data we want. So that would be it. And we have to create a main method to test this class. So we'll say file display equal new file display. File display class would take the path for the file name that you want to read. So I already created a text file. So this is the text file. It has more than, as you can see, it has more than one line. So we would right click and copy path. Then I have to go back here and paste it here. Then you have to test each method that we created. So we'll say file display DisplayHead. Then we would run it. We would run the program. As you can see, it would print the first five lines of the file, even though the file has more than 5 lines. So how about if we delete most of the lines? Would it print whole content, or there would be error? Let's run it again. No, it works just fine. It printed 2 lines because there's only two lines. How about if we test the second method, display, what we call display contents, display contents. So how about if we run this? Okay. It's not printing anything. Why is that? Display content, data. Okay. How about the file? Okay, let's try it again. You run it again. Yeah, there you go. It prints all of it. So that was the second method. How about the last method, which is responsible for printing printing the line numbers? Why is it stuck? For some reason, my computer is stuck. For some reason, I don't know why. Now I think it works now. File display, then display with line numbers. So if we run it again, we should see every line numbered, just like they asked us to do. So I think that would be it. If you want the source code, I would be posting on my GitHub account, and you can copy it and learn from it, and that would be it. And thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.